Welcome, everybody, and welcome to Liberty Warrior Nation. I'm here to give you some updates, a little late afternoon headline hits. We got Mike here, too, you guys. He's on the road, so we felt it was very important to catch you guys up. There's so much news going on, hitting constantly today, so we're going to have a little conversation and try to keep you all updated on everything that's going on today. So, Mike, you there?
Yep, I'm here.
How's it going?
Hauling ass, sucking gas. Let's get her done.
Okay, let's get her done. So we got to talk about these updates, what's going on with Russia and Ukraine, of course. We're finding out that Mr. B is sending 7,000 additional troops over to Europe. And also the Russians are near the Ukraine machinery. So it looks like Mr. Putin is gearing head right into the heart of Ukraine and take it over. So what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, what I seen just a little bit ago was they were actually already inside the city.
Some of them, yeah.
Yeah, the capital city. It looks like they could take the capital within the next 24 hours. Now, you said Mr. B was sending over an additional 7,000 troops. Is that
Yep.
in addition to the 8,500? So is that going to make about 15,000 troops?
Absolutely, yep. That just came out recently, so I just saw that just right before we went on. So we got to find out. You know, this is ever changing and moving, as we know. We're also seeing, satellite imagery that's coming over with these military units that they have they're heading into Kiev. And then also, Russian Foreign Minister Lavrov says Moscow plans to denazify the Ukraine. He said that Vladimir Putin is determined to accomplish this. So my question is, Mike, do you think once he stops with Ukraine that he's going to stop there and take that over, or you think he's going to go further into it and try to take over more Baltic states or countries?
Yeah, I think he's going to move forward. I think this is just the first stepping stone for him. He's testing the waters. Now, if he goes south to the Baltic states, it's going to create a problem for everyone in the world because those are NATO countries. And once they attack one NATO country, then everybody jumps in. They're even talking about cyber attacks, power grid attacks. If anybody in a NATO country has a cyber attack or a power grid attack, could also constitute other people jumping in, so to speak.
Yeah, it would invoke Article 5, which that would incorporate over 256,000 troops between Estonia, Poland, Germany, Romania, Bulgaria, and Ukraine. These NATO troops would be activated, and technically it would be World War III. And they're saying that Putin's really not going to want to probably do that and venture into that. However, do you think we can even trust him at this point? What do you think his reasoning is behind what he's doing here, Mike?
Well, everybody has their own opinion. White hat this, black hat that. I personally think that Putin is doing this because he I seen this on Fox. He wants to be known as a czar that brought back the old Soviet Union. I really believe that that's part of his agenda. Is he wants the old Soviet Union back, and I think he's going to stop at nothing to accomplish that. Especially when you got a weak-ass president like we do in the White House who has no stones at all to stand up to this guy, even though he claims that he'll go toe-to-toe with Putin. He has yet to prove it. He's failed at everything that he's done. The other issue that we have here is now there's talks of China basically looking at what they might be able to take from other people at this point with all this stuff going on. So it could really turn into a huge debacle, and we got to pay attention to it.
Well, I don't know if you heard or not, but China already sent, while these initial attacks were happening the other night, China already sent like 15 or 16 fighter jets into Taiwan airspace along with a reconnaissance plane, just kind of, I think, testing the waters, because while we're looking over here, they're heading over there. And, that's perfect timing for them to be able to do anything if they want to. So obviously this can be worldwide effects, and it's going to affect all of us, depending on what happens. And last night there were reports that Chernobyl was taken over, and they had military, Russia had the military vehicles that surrounded it and taken it over. And we discussed a little bit how that makes zero sense at all, because Chernobyl is not habitable, or to be able to go anywhere near it. It's a chemical meltdown. But then there's the theory that it's the child trafficking issues are happening there. And if it really was taken over, it really isn't the mess that we thought it was. That was a whole nother lie. So what are your opinions on that?
Well, the Russians do have Chernobyl. That's fact. They did take an airport, but I think the Ukrainians took that back from them. But there are people dying in this whole situation, and it's unfortunate. A lot of people caught in the middle. The Ukraine has now issued an order that anyone from the age of 18 to 60 is no longer allowed to leave the country. They are now being handed weapons and asked to fight for their country. There are a lot of civilians that are they're joining the fight too. I mean, they're going to have guerrilla warfare right in the middle of the city. I mean, they're building those cocktails. Thousands of people. I think they issued 18,000 weapons just in the last 24 hours in Ukraine, in the capital. So this thing's building up pretty big.
Well, Zelensky came out and said that he wants help from the West and NATO, stating, he's in fear of his life. He says, I might not be alive much longer. However, apparently, Zelensky was having a meeting, and we're waiting. It was like a 40-minute meeting, and we're waiting to see what the results of that meeting are. But it's very troubling times, definitely. And there was an interview that I saw with a Ukraine parliament member. And he said, we need help from NATO, because we need to block off, shut down the airspace, the no-fly zone. He said, because all the damage that we're seeing are from the Russian aircraft. He said that when it comes to us being on the ground, he says they feel like they can neutralize Russia, that we are equal to them on the ground. It's from the air that they're having problems with. And I think we lost Mike, you guys. So we probably lost Mike. He's going to try to get back on, you guys. He's on the road. So we're just trying to come in, keep you guys updated as much as possible. Like I said, there's so much stuff going on that, there's a lot of meetings that seem to be going on. There's a lot of movement that's happening. You can see video constantly of updates of what's going on. Also, Peppermint Patty did a White House briefing, and she was asked the question about the Italian and German government are saying they would not veto a move to remove Russia from the SWIFT messaging service, which is a messaging service for 11,000 banks, and to try to put some pressure on Putin. They're trying to do these sanctions. The initial sanctions did not work in any way, shape, or form. So now they're trying to apply more pressure. And Peppermint Patty's comment was, it's been on the table for a long time. I'm not taking it off the table today. However, there's no discussion, and there's no decision that Biden is going to be involved in this and join along with this sanction, that if they enforce this sanction on him. So basically, if you guys have been watching, a lot of people are saying, Biden needs to get on this right now, as even yesterday, that he needs to start putting up, like Mike said, he needs to get some nads out there and start putting the pressure on Putin, because, if he gets away with this, you guys, they feel there's no stopping them whatsoever. Is Mike back on, War Machine? You can bring him in if he's back on. He's going to drop in and out for where he's traveling, and that's okay. So So we're going to see if they're trying what Putin's trying to do. You guys, I don't know if I trust the man. I know that there's two sides to this, but as everything's breaking and changing, it's constantly fluid. It's constant movement. You know, Pompeo came out and was saying, you know, Biden needs to do some stuff here. And he's not doing it. You know, I saw Representative Rick Scott come out and say, hey, you know, this is the time. You got to make a move here. We need to get our oil back in. We need to get our gas going. We need to get that Keystone pipeline up and running. And nobody can figure out why Biden is not taking any action on any of this whatsoever. We're still importing our fuel from Russia, our oil from Russia, and it's not making sense at all. So it's just, like I said, very troubling. We want to get on and just be able to update you guys. I think Mike and I are going to try to come on later with some more updates as well. You on, Mike? You back?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, did you hear about the Peppermint Patty talking about that Biden doesn't make a decision yet about putting in these sanctions on Russia about the SWIFT messaging service, which ties in like 11,000 banks, because the Italian government and the German government both want to put these sanctions on to try to put a stronghold on him, and Biden won't come out and make any comments about it or won't talk about it. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, he can't, because we're tied to Russia now, and we're dependent on their oil. So Russia feeds us with oil, and he feeds all of Europe with oil. So this is the predicament that Europe is in right now. They can't put those type of restrictions on Russia because and they turn that pipeline off or quit feeding up their natural gas. It's winter in the UK right now. They'll have to go back to burning wood, and they'll freeze to death. So that's a cabal. And then, you know, we also purchase oil from Russia like a bunch of idiots, because this jackass day one killed the Keystone pipeline and shut our energy independence down. So Russia has all the cards right now. They truly do. And he knows it. And that's why he's making the move.
Absolutely. I agree with that. Hey, Lily J, thanks so much for the super chat. We sure do appreciate it. Hey, Mike, don't forget this. Remember what Barack said about Biden? He said, don't trust this guy when it comes to foreign policy and war decision. He never gets it right. And now here he is, Mike. He's the commander in chief. And you know what? I think Joe wants war because he needs something. You know, we're dealing with the sickness. Look at the debacle he did. He didn't deal with that very well, the shape we're in with that. You look at our supply chain issues. You look at our inflation. Look at his dismal withdrawal from Afghanistan. And what better distraction is there to put our troops in harm's way? Because we, the American people, what are we going to be focused on then, Mike?
Well, the problem is now you're going to sacrifice our young men and women to cover up your disaster of administration. I don't agree with that at all. And if that's any indication of where his head is in this game, shame on him, because that's unacceptable in my book.
Well, yeah. I mean, look at the Scad Warrior. Thanks so much for the super chat. We appreciate it, sister. Thank you. Well, Mike, what accomplishments has he had? What has he done good? Can
Nothing.
You think of anything?
Zero. I'll pay anybody $100 bill. They can come on the show and tell me one thing he's done good in the last 14 months.
Yeah. And I know some people in chat are saying that Ukraine is a playground of deep state and cabal. I'm not going to argue with that in any way, shape, or form. But, you know, like I agree with Mike, you know, war is ugly, and we don't know all the details to war. We never do, and we never will. But these people are losing their lives. And that's what's very troubling about all of this. And I hope that you're right. I hope that it is whatever you want to call it, that there really is something else going on that we may not know about, and that they are these cabal and these bad people. I'll pray that that's true. But in the meantime, you know, we're watching, like Mike said, these people being forced to fight for their freedoms and stuff, and it's not looking so good. If NATO's not going to come in, and we aren't going to come in and help, like I said, control that sky, shut the sky down, because Mike, I think you dumped out when I said this, but some of the parliament people from Ukraine begging NATO and the West to get involved in the airspace because all the damage that's going on has been from the air.
Yeah, I was commenting, but for some reason it kicked me out. So here's my comment to that. They are begging us for air support. They want a no-fly zone because they want to fight Russia on the ground. They want to fight Russia on their terms. Russia is a superpower. They've got all kinds of air support, and the Ukraine has none. And so they're begging for our help to make it basically even odds. Let us fight on the ground. We'll fight it out. So here's the other thing that same guy was saying. He made comment that when Ukraine became their own sovereign state, they gave up their nuclear warheads. They gave up a lot of their defense to become a sovereign state. And now he's telling everybody, listen, we don't have a real way to defend ourselves other than on the ground. And this is what we want. So the lesson for everybody to learn here, especially the Americans, is you definitely don't want to give up your Second Amendment or give up anything to protect yourself, or you're in this situation right here where you can't really defend yourself like you should be able to. So that's the position that Ukraine is in right now.
Yeah, also some of these sanctions, the initial sanctions obviously did nothing. So trying to invoke these deeper sanctions, Peppermint Patty at the White House press briefing said it takes 30 days for these to go into effect. What kind of craziness is that? Why would it take 30 days? These people don't have 30 days to wait. Isn't there any emergency orders or anything that can be put forth for this?
Well, that's what you get from this administration. It's always it's no plan. They have no plan. So they've tightened the screws down on them on sanctions, which I can see sanctions working, but not quick enough. They really it's just Afghanistan all over again.
Yeah, it's a complete debacle. It's terrifying, and it breaks my heart for the people that are dealing with it in the Ukraine. It breaks my heart for the people with these new troops going over. And I'll tell you what, I mean, 256,000 people can be activated and deployed, these NATO troops. And that's an awful lot of people because I believe last count, Russia had like about 150,000 troops in the area. So, I mean,
Correct.
that they could do. So, I mean, this could get really nasty, really bad, really devastating, really fast. So prayer is what we have to do, and we have to hope that somebody's got to take control over this. You've got, like I said, Pompeo out there. You got Rick Scott out there. You got all these officials saying, "Hey, Mr. B, let's get moving. What are you waiting for?" And I don't know about you, but I haven't seen or heard hide nor hair of him.
No, and again, the Ukraine, they're doing the best they can with what they have. I don't know if you guys caught it or if it dropped me out, but they're now saying that anybody from the ages of 18 to 60 can't leave the country. They want them fighting for their freedom, and I mean they've got civilians who are volunteering, thousands of them. They've issued out over 18,000 weapons to date so far, trying to get people, what they need to fight the Russians toe to toe. So it's getting ugly.
Yeah. Hey, where's Mr. Obama been at? Where's his statement? He's the one that said you can't trust him with foreign policy, let alone war decisions, because he never gets it right. So why isn't he out speaking, saying, "Hey, get a move on, Mister"?
Well,
Where's
he
at?
hasn't. He hasn't. But old Hillary did today. Hillary came out and said that it's all Trump's fault, that the situation that we're in, and that the Biden administration has had to build back better their foreign policy. What a joke.
Yeah, it's just ridiculous. I didn't see that. I'm glad you caught that. Like I said, Mike, there's just so much going on. It's like head spinning to try to keep up with it. It's just insanity. It's moving at a very fast pace. But I think that's about all I wanted to cover. Is there anything else you want to cover before we come back later?
No, that's it. I'll be back on here shortly with you, Tammy, and we're going to talk about something that I think needs to be talked about and brought up. So stay tuned.
Okay, stay tuned, you guys. That's it for now. We'll see you guys back in a little bit here. Thanks for the super chats and stuff, and we're working hard to keep you guys updated. Thanks so much. We'll talk to you in a few.